did you guys flirt with each other?
And that's 2 people.
Quite thick there, isn't it?
Is it, Stephen?
Flirting also counts as sexual innuendos.
No idea what I'm going to be putting in my mouth.
Well, Night's still young.
Am I the only one who's confused as to why we needed all that time for this episode? Because at the end of the day, it was just snippets and snippets of the same story. We would get a couple of lines, then they would stop. We'd get another couple of lines, and then they would stop. So it doesn't make sense. And Stephen. Well, what do I think? I think Stephen and both April... what happened is something must have happened in their apartment during couple swap. And this is why they're very standoffish with their partners, because the way April seemed unbothered, she was phoning it in. All she wanted was for him to come home so that her mom and sister could be on camera. That's it. Not because she really wanted anything to do with this man. The way her mom dismissed the relationship completely tells you that she just came for them to be on TV, and that was it. And for Stephen, he just went there to be on TV and to say his piece and then walk out. I feel like April and Stephen did something, and if there's an affair this season, as I said before, they are the couple that did that. And what I'm going to do, instead of having clips and clips, because it was more or less a repetition. Okay, let's go. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK. Season 10, episode 27. So it's Homestays week, so they get to go to their partners' houses and see how the other person lives, get to meet their family and take it from there. April and Leo were the first one to be shown. April is saying they're on different pages. They see their marriage from different points of view. And Leo is being very optimistic. And seeing how his mom reacts, I get it where it comes from. I get how he becomes this sort of la la land. Leo was saying, hoping being home will help him sort of step out of his shell and show April a bit more of himself. He did try his best. It seemed like he was reading from a script. He is very awkward. I don't think he's a camera front person. I think he's someone who would have thrived away from the camera had it not been on the show. I think he's like a deer in headlights every time they're there. And his apartment looked more like an Airbnb. I don't know whether that's because he was worried, is it clean, or whether he was unsure about the environment. Something was a bit off with it. Bailey and Becca, as usual, they went to his apartment. It looked very scarce. I agree with Becca on that. He was saying he's trying to convince Becca to move to Hove. And I get where he's coming from. He's a single dad, so he wants to be close to his daughter. He can't expect to move his daughter and the mother. What if they don't want to move? So he has no choice but to stay. At the same time, Becca is saying, she has started her business and she can't leave her business behind. So this is the second time we've seen some sort of cracks in their marriage. Leah went home alone. Apparently, Lee decided to stay and not come with her to Homestays. Lee, on her part, is saying that, every time it seems like Leah speaks to someone, Lee sees red flags. She sees like it's cheating. Because she said she saw, Leah flirting with a girl, and so the trust is broken. She feels disrespected, and it's like you're constantly feeling disrespected. It was Rebecca, then it was Lisha, now it's this girl that we don't know about. So what you're trying to say is Leah cannot look in anyone else's direction, because if she does, you're going to see it as cheating. That's the impression that I get. John and Abby, they went to John's place. They really are very excited. They're very cute and they're very sort of in their own little bubble as they've been throughout the experiment. They say they're happy to be together. Abby, wants to impress his family. She wants them to really like her, which shows you that these two people are really serious about one another. Because if they were not serious about one another, then there wouldn't be a need for them to try and impress the in-laws. And the apartment looked amazing. John's apartment looked amazing, just spotless. I loved that. Nelly went home to Manchester. She went on her own because Stephen refused to go. Stephen apparently needed time to reflect. Stephen is saying he didn't feel it was right for him to go with her due to the issues with their connection. It's nothing to do with their connection. I have a feeling that April and Stephen explored something during that couple swap. Because of the way they were very awkward the next morning, they were very flirty and sort of putting out their innuendos. But I feel like once the camera crew cut off and they went, something happened. Anyway, you have Nelly be visited by her mum and her brother. And her mum was very sad. Her mom was very sad because Stephen did not come. She kept asking, where's Stephen, where's Stephen? And so she was upset about that. Nelly saying we haven't had a great time. During partner swap, he kept comparing me to April, and I don't understand why he did that. And it's like, oh God, this is going to be messy. It really is. And it's really sad because they were... on wedding day, they seemed great. On the honeymoon, they seemed great. But then once they came to the apartment, things fell apart. And I don't think they've ever been able to mend that. I think they've tried, but I don't think they've been able to mend anything. So I'm not surprised they're in this sad space. Leo and April are still trying to their best to sort of make this marriage work. Leo tried to be funny. It sounded like production said, oh, do a trick for us. And then he stood up and did this, sexually thingy, a joke which didn't land. You could tell April was not impressed. I think production pushed him for that. Because, when someone does something that's embarrassing and it's going to be embarrassing and you're trying to make them stop, that's the way it came across. And poor Leo was really trying. He thought he was impressing her, but she wasn't. We then have Lee decide to turn up at Leah's place. It seemed all staged and all tense for no reason. I have a feeling she was told, when you get there, be upset, make her respect you. If she's crossing boundaries, you need to let her know that this is not accepted. Because they then sat down and you had Lee say, I felt ignored, you were flirting with the other girl. And Leah saying, but that's how I talk to people. That is how I talk to people. So when you're saying I'm flirting, I do not see it as flirting. I see it as just talking to someone. So I don't get why you feel some type of way. And I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like these two, they've taken us through a roller coaster. The only thing is they haven't sworn at each other, but the number of tense situations we've had to sit through, at times you just want them to break up. Abby finally went to meet John's family. They were really sweet. The mom was very excited. They sat them down and they said, we're having an amazing time. We're having thoughts and conversations about wanting to start a family. The little cousin was so excited. The little nephew was so excited. As soon as he heard cousins, he really was excited. And I was like, oh my God, don't break his heart. What if they don't work out? Maybe don't tell him. But the family seemed very close and they really seemed to approve of Abby. They really liked her and she seemed very comfortable and very welcome. So I can see them working. I think if there's a couple that's going to work this season, for no other reason, is John and Abby. They've been consistent throughout, so I wouldn't be surprised if they say yes on the final vows. April then met up with Leo's friends. The friends were not having it. They were not having it. He must have had conversations with his friends before they came with April, because the friends called her out and said, he is trying, you're not. You've checked out, and we don't want him to be hurt. He was saying he's trying to be himself because he's at Homestays, so he's hoping he'll get the chance to open up. The friends were brutally honest. This is what April wants. She said she wants a conversation with someone. She wants back and forth. They gave her that, and she seemed like a deer in headlights. So I think they could see that the friends were not taking any nonsense or reading or sort of eating up whatever she was trying to put out. So in the end, she stood up and left them to speak to their friend. Bailey took Rebecca to his brewery to show her where he makes his alcohol. He's really trying to impress her and get her to come and move down to Hove. We barely get to see their journey outside of the fact that, they're struggling of where to live or what to do. We haven't heard any full conversations from the two of them. So I personally don't understand their relationship and their connection. So I don't know. We'll see what happens on final vows. You have the following morning, April is saying that, she argued with Leo because Leo had been speaking to his friends and they had sort of talked about certain conversations and he came back, they argued and then he left. And so it's like his friends must have really honed it in that you're wasting your time, you're looking like an idiot, this girl doesn't like you, she's checked out. We can all see she's checked out. She really has checked out. And as much as he's trying, she has checked out. She knows she's checked out. She knows she's been called out and she doesn't want the Julia Ruth experience. This is why she's pretending to be nice about it. He came back, they had a conversation and he said, I've realized that you've checked out and so I feel like I need to check out myself. And so it was left in this sort of gray area. I thought they'd broken up. So I was pleasantly surprised to see them go to her place because I thought they'd broken up. I thought that was the end of the road for them. Leah and Lee met up with her family. And I love that, they were honest. And I think Lee was shocked because Leah said, it's been a roller coaster. I've been told so many times that I've been flirting. And it took her family telling Lee that she's not flirting. This is who she is. That's the way she talks to people. She has never done anything that could be seen as disrespectful to her partner. Because I have seen clips that I've thought, oh, Leah is flirting, but I don't think it's been as harmful flirting as April and Stephen's situation when they were cooking that pasta. So I'm happy that her family was able to speak up for her and sort of reassure Lee that this is, who she is. She never means any harm or any malice. Leo met up with his mom and sister. The mom started crying because she really liked April. He told her April is not coming. We haven't been doing very well. My friends told me that she's checked out. And the sister had to call him out and say, why are you listening to them? Who said they're the voice of reason? You need to give this thing a go. If there is a small possibility that things could work, then give it a shot. I feel like they shouldn't have said that. I feel like they should have spoken to April first to find out where she was, because otherwise they're setting up false expectations and unexpected sort of hope on someone that is not going anywhere. So I didn't like that. And the mother, as much as she was saying she doesn't want to make it about herself, it seemed like she was making it about herself. It really did. Bailey and Rebecca met with his sister, and the way his sister drowned it in that, he can't move. I don't want him to move. I've got a, he's got a daughter here. He can't move. He can't move. He can't move. And Bailey kept going, I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. It's as though they've been asked to emphasize the I cannot move. And it's like, we've heard it. She is saying she cannot move. You're saying you cannot move. So the two of you either meet halfway or break it off and stop wasting our time. Nelly then had a chat with her friend and she was dissecting her marriage. The friend was calling out Stephen and saying, Stephen is wasting your time. He's not prioritizing you. So I don't understand why you continue to stay in this marriage. It's important to have people that are honest with you and that give you a reality check. But I don't know whether Nelly's friend was the best person to be doing this. And so I hope this is the end of the road for them, because Stephen has really shown her that he's not interested in her. But she's kept going back and going back and going back. You had John sort of take Abby on a walk because he's really trying to impress her to get her to move to where he lives. I like them. I really like them as a couple. He lives in Flint, so I don't know whether, they're going to move there or whether Abby's mum is going to allow them to move there since she really loves her daughter. I can't wait to see what happens with that train wreck. Anyway, we then have April packing up to say she's going home, and she didn't know whether Leo was coming. Leo eventually turned up and he said, he wanted to do his best and make sure that he had exhausted all options. So he was going to go with her for Homestays. And personally, I feel like he just went just for her family to be on TV. That's it. We then have Leah and Lee go on a date. They were just walking on the beach. They really have turned the corner. I think meeting Leah's family and sort of having conversations about who Leah is as a person has managed to pacify, Lee, because Lee was saying, I really like you. I really care about you. I appreciate the fact that you're very caring and patient. So I am willing to do the work to see if we can progress this further. So they were really cute. Their date was really nice. I loved that. And then in Weymouth, April's family finally met up with Leo. And I don't know, because April is saying, well, the two of them revealed that they were struggling, but Leo is saying, I really adore April, and they're sort of struggling with communication. For her mom to turn around and say, oh, if you're not joking or there's no fun in it, then this relationship is not going to work. She told them that relationship was not going to work, but she wanted them to be on camera. So this is why she put up with it for as long as she could. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense why they're there. I was side-eyeing them that, why are you here? Why are we here when you know that this relationship is not going anywhere? So I'm really side-eyeing April. I'm really side-eyeing her mum, because I feel like they were not as constructive with their feedback. I feel like they just came in and said, okay, fine, there's not this and this and this is non-existent. You're done. Let's go. And it's like, how many more relationships can she go through if this is going to be the attitude? Leah really tried her best. She set up a romantic date for Lee as the final night. It was really cute. I think when they're good, they're very good. I think it's just a matter of Lee working on her issues and her trauma that will allow them to progress as a couple and do better. So I can't wait to see what happens there. Stephen then finally sent a message to Nelly to say he was coming. So he went to Manchester, met with Nelly. I feel like the friend was in the bedroom waiting. I feel like production fed the friend what was going on, and then she just came all guns blazing for Stephen. Because there was this conversation between Nelly and Stephen where she said, I feel like you were comparing me to April when I came back from partner swap. Was there any flirting with her while you were together? Was there any new innuendos? And you had the production play a montage of all these things, and Stephen said no. And it's like, Stephen, just own up and say something happened between April and myself during partner swap, and this is why I've decided to move on in a different direction. There was a conversation about where they stand as a couple. Nelly's friend then came out and asked Stephen, have you had Nelly's back throughout this experience? And he said yes. And she asked, what does marriage mean to you? You're on a dating app, you're on Hinge, you have no respect for her. Personally, with the Stephen situation, I don't think the Hinge issue should be an issue. I think the main issue is his time with April and what did they do with April. That's where the problem lies. Everything else people are bringing up about him and saying, oh, he did ABC. No, that doesn't matter. What did he and April do during partner swap is what we all need to know. Because if we get to the bottom of that, then we can understand everything else. I can't wait to see what happens. Anyway, I will be traveling for the next week. I will try and upload my videos as soon as I can, so bear with me. There will be a time difference, but anyway, thanks guys for the support. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 26. Bye everyone.